The NFL season is finally here, so make sure you're ready with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV. It gives you the most live NFL games all in one place, exactly what you need to make your Sundays more magical. Sign up today at youtube.com/Sunday Ticket. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it.
Rams Nation, welcome back to another episode of Rams Up Roundtable. My name is Ian. This is Paul joining me. Tom and Mark cannot make it today, but no problem. We'll hold it down for you guys here. Shout out to you, Tom and Mark. Paul, what's going on, baby? It's been a good week of victory, Monday, Tuesday, and here we are on a Wednesday. It's been fun to just see the banter back and forth in the Rams universe, just taking in a W against our arch rivals. Shoot.
Absolutely. I think you can see Ram Nation Ian is still basking in the W, right? The glory of the W. As we run the two-back formation today, we're going to take another look at the takeaways from the Ram 49er game. But it's been a great week, and you can just see winning fixes everything. Everybody's got renewed hope. You saw the presser. McVay looked like a different person out there.
Oh, well, dude, winning cures a lot. And gentlemen out there, my gentleman here that's part of me today in Rams Nation, I mean, we avoided the disastrous 0-3 start where basically the playoff hopes would have been shattered and it would have been over with. I think in the last 40 plus years, only 4 teams, if my memory is correct, have made the playoffs after starting 0-3. So the chances of us saving the season, if we would have lost to the Niners, that would have been a wrap. So this victory was enormous that we got. So you bet your you-know-whats that I'm feeling good about pulling that off with, an undermanned roster, quote unquote. But those guys sure played like they are deserving of being in this league and being on the Rams roster, right?
Absolutely. Ram Nation. And when you finish watching this segment, make sure you hop on to Orchestrated Rams. Our maestro, the king of the strings, Power Eye Ian, walks you through some of the more impactful plays of the game, so that you can get a closer analysis and benefit from his insights. So definitely check it out. Monster vid.
Thanks, man. And again, I'll have those videos out every week. Orchestrated Rams, that is a segment where we break down film, show you what the heck happened, the nitty-gritty of all the games outside of just watching it live like we all did on Sunday afternoon. So thanks for that shout out, and tune into that video whenever you get a chance. But Paul, my friend, what are your final thoughts on this game? Now that we've had these couple days to kind of bask in beating our arch rivals, how do you feel about it? And I know you watch film too, so what did you see? And give us your thoughts, dude.
Yeah, so like the first thing that really jumped out at me, and I knew the O-line played well, but when I went back, and that's the only word I can really use to really encapsulate that feeling was I was astonished how well they played.
Yeah, they
The
played pretty good.
O-line, yeah, they really played. I was like, especially watching Logan Russ, right? But yeah, that crew did a phenomenal job, and especially 7'9" and 6'9" on the right side.
Mhm.
They were holding it down, and I'm telling you, they could have run behind those two all day long. They were moving people, and Bo Limmer was absolutely phenomenal.
He was.
Absolutely phenomenal. Model of consistency in the middle. Logan Bruss, you talk about perseverance, man. Shout out to number 60, man. The kid went through a lot. They jumped in the pool for him, so there was a lot of pressure on him. And he finally got his shot. He played well. He really did. He played well. And Alaric coming back made a big, big difference. You could just see the cohesiveness of that unit. Even if it was just that first game, you could just see it. It was a much steadier sort of presence out there at left tackle, which I think just trickled down the whole O-line. And having Big Rob back, huge, huge.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. To see Alaric Jackson come back and only allow Nick Bosa one pressure and one overall tackle, that's fantastic. And I know a lot of 49er fans said, hey, he didn't practice much, Bosa. And hey, maybe he was 100%. And that might be true, but an 80%, 75% Nick Bosa is still a Pro Bowl level player. Let's not kid ourselves here with the impact and the awesome just football player that he is. But then on the opposite side, shout out to Big Rob, holding Leonard Floyd to just basically a 0 in every stat. No tackles, no QB hurries, no sacks, no pressures. I mean, shout out to Leonard Floyd for being a Super Bowl champion, but he might have done us a solid by not showing up this past Sunday or him getting neutralized by his former teammate, Rob Havenstein. So to contain those two guys on the outside, where outside rushes have smoked this team in weeks 1 against the Lions and then week 2 against the Cardinals, for them to be neutralized, Pro Bowl, all pro level players, fantastic job by the O-line. And I couldn't agree more, my friend. They saved the day offensively, pass protection, and then doing just enough in the run game to give Kyron Williams some room to wiggle for sure.
And there's a great metric to really show that. The average time for Stafford to throw in that game was 3.13 seconds, which was number 3 from the top. So that just goes to show you. And the way they were moving the ball and the way staff was just slicing and dicing, it just points right back to the O-line. And I think that's a really telling statistic.
Yeah, I mean, look at the stats here, everybody. 16-25. It wasn't some let's throw it 50 times, and have 40-something attempts. Like, that formula we all know doesn't work. 221 yards. He obviously had the great touchdown dot to Kyron on that Texas route where he manipulated Fred Warner to get him away from Kyron. And then look at his passer rating, 105.6. That's a fantastic passer rating. And you don't get that unless you get good protection. And we've been saying it for forever since Stafford's been our quarterback, everybody. If you give him time, he's going to find the open man and throw a laser beam strike to them. And that's what they did, right? Shoot.
Yeah, and you saw it in the every time when Stafford is back there, you always have a chance. It's that simple. Yeah. Optimus 9 always gives you a chance to win. It's that simple. It's a simple formula.
Mm-hmm. Simple formula indeed. And then speaking of him and all just his fantastic throws and everything else, a little bit of NFL history that he's climbing up there, my friend, and in Rams Nation. Quarterback Matthew Stafford logged his 36th fourth quarter comeback against the San Francisco 49ers, tying Drew Brees for 5th most in the history of professional football. Crazy. Stafford also led his 48th career game-winning drive, including the playoffs, most of any active player, and then 6th most in the history of professional football. His 48 career game-winning drives are 5 more than the next closest active player, which is Russell Wilson, who's riding the bench right now and looking like his starting days are numbered with Justin Fields playing good. So everybody, again, we said it in the post-game reaction. Let's stop with the trade Stafford talk, please. No Bryce Young, no trade picks and start over. We have an elite quarterback who is clutch. and just a freaking monster. So everyone just calm down with that, right, my friend? Shoot.
Absolutely. And I think that's another takeaway from the game that I think needs to be really, really highlighted is that the leadership capacity of Matt Stafford doesn't get talked about enough.
No, not at
Because
all.
when the chips are down, that's when Stafford rises to the top. And you and I talked about it in the post game celebration in the locker room. You know, Staff got one of the game balls, and he immediately turns around. He goes, "Where's Cardi?" and gives it
Yeah.
to the right. How many
Mhm.
quarterbacks do that?
Not many. Not many at all. So I know Coach McVay, when he was doing his weekly appearance, the Coach McVay show where he talks to JV Long and DeMarco Farr, who do a great job interviewing
Phenomenal.
him. And they had mentioned that, like how awesome Stafford was for doing that. And McVay's like, what a great guy for bailing out his head coach. He's like, I was too amped up and I forgot about Cardi. So that just shows you got a pseudo coach playing elite quarterback on the field and a pseudo coach always remembering his teammates making great plays. And speaking of Cardi, man, I mean, shout out to him for pulling through and, not practicing practically all week. And, he joked about how he looked himself up before the game saying, hey, what's my status for the game? And he's like, questionable. Interesting. I feel ready to go. And goes out there and kicks the game-winning kick. And Josh Cardi, Rams Nation, is the youngest kicker in franchise history to make a game-winning field goal in the fourth quarter at the age of 22. And just the second rookie in franchise history to make a game-winning field goal. Greg Zerling was the last. Cardi is also the second rookie kicker in franchise history to convert his first 5 field goal attempts. Also, Greg the Leg. I mean, what a great draft pick it's been so far after last season, Rams Nation and my friend here, where we were just hoping to at least get in a 30-yard field goal range, and we can be like, all right, our kicker shouldn't miss it there, right? To have Cardi, obviously he hasn't kicked any 50-plus yarders yet, but everything looks down the middle. Everything looks clean. The operation from Evans holding it, long snap. What a night and day difference it is having that operation and then a kicker who can execute and makes it look pretty easy, huh?
So, Power Eye, are you saying we got a nickname for this kid? Are we going to go with Kid Cardi?
Kid Cardi?
We might have to go with Kid Cardi. I think we'll go with Kid Cardi, at least for a couple of years. Until
Kid Cardi. I had some buddies calling him Cali Cardi, right?
Cali
For
Cardi.
California, Cali Cardi.
It's a Cardi party.
Yeah, Cardi Party, I think I heard JB Long say. And also, there's Playboy Cardi, the rapper. So I know a lot of the Rams locker room have been calling him that, Playboy Cardi, making the kick. So he's gonna have tons of nicknames. We'll stick with ours, right? Cali Cardi. We'll start with Kid Cardi. Yeah. And shout out to him, man, and shout out for him to making some history, which was needed to beat the 49ers.
Great job.
Right?
Clutch.
Yeah.
Kid was clutch.
Great. Yeah, kid was clutch. But you know who else was pretty clutch too? Let's not forget Kyren. And I can't. We've been talking about it for how long, right, Rams Nation, Paul? And you've been a proponent, and so have I, about just feed this dude. He needs 20-plus touches to get rocking. And, the previous games where he was getting 14-ish or so in the 15 range, and it's like, no. He needs to be the bell cow. And I know a lot of people don't like that term for whatever reason, but describes it perfectly, man. Keep hitting that thing, and it won't break. And that is the definition of number 23 for the Rams. So glad he was featured. And I know there's a lot of people, including myself, who are like, where's Blake Corum? And I still kind of feel that way. But if Kyron's getting all the touches and is getting opportunities, then, it's fine for another week of not seeing Blake and seeing an all-pro running back carry the load. Say you, Paul.
Yeah, so, listen, the kid is the beast. And Iron Kyren is just, I think the magic number is for the rest of the season is he needs 25 touches. I know that seems like a lot, but I remember what Emmitt Smith said. Emmitt Smith said something that always stuck with me. He said, there's a difference when you give me 25 touches when the defense is coming at me versus 25 touches where I'm coming at them. It's a big difference. And I think he hit the nail on the head. So when you're bleeding the clock and you're hammering the other team, I don't think there's a running back in this league that's like, listen, don't give me the ball. I feel tired, right? That's when they go to work. That's when they earn their money. And this kid is dynamic. And there's something, if you remember the pressers in the preseason, McVay, and we talked about it here, is McVay said it a couple of times about getting all 5 receivers, right? He kept saying, I want to get all 5 eligibles out there, right? And I said,
Yes.
when this team is able to go empty, look out. That means this offense is hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Iron Karen out of the backfield. And by the way, Blake can also catch out of the backfield, and so can Rivers to some extent, right? But particularly Iron Karen, right? You highlighted on your segment, right? When he ran that angle route, man, it was a thing of beauty. And that's what Marshall Faulk made famous. He was unstoppable on that route.
Yeah.
So that's just I think a little hint of what's to come. I think going 5 eligible and getting them out there into the routes and getting them out into the pass catching matrix, I think is the next thing on McVay's schedule. And when they can implement that with high efficiency, look out.
I agree. Because, last year he had a couple drops. He had that one against the 49ers. He had some other ones where it got bobbled and intercepted, and Carmen said, hey, I'll get that fixed. And so far, so good. He's cashing and flipping into the freaking end zone. And outside of that, speaking of just all-time greats, I mean, guys, running back Kyron Williams extended his rushing touchdown streak to 6 games, tied for the longest active streak in the NFL to the Lions, running back David Montgomery, who is pretty good too. His streak of 6 games is also tied for the longest streak by a Rams running back since Marshall Faulk in 2001. So Kyron's legit all-pro level player. He's in great company, setting Rams records with other all-time Rams running backs. And as long as he can stay healthy, right, Rams Nation, right, Paul? If he can, then there's no reason why he shouldn't be an all-pro again and shouldn't be scoring multiple times a game going forward. And shout out to him for sure, man. Shout out to him.
20 total TDs in 14 career starts.
Yeah, so beast, dude. So beast. Enough said, right? Shoot.
That is the definition of beast mode right there.
Yeah, beast mode for sure. And I know we probably started diving into this a little bit, talking about the O-line and Kyron and Stafford. But, Paul, if you had to give a couple games balls, 2, who would they be? And it could be who we've talked about already. I know we kind of jumped in, getting excited talking about our people here. But if you had to give out 2 game balls, who would it be in this victory over the 49ers?
All right. So I'm going to go. My first game ball is going to be, I'm going to go with the collective. It's going to be shared game ball. I'm going to give it to the O-line.
Yeah.
Right. Football is won in the trenches. And they rolled up their sleeves and they carried that team for 4 quarters. So I'm going to give it to the O-line. No excuses. They were ready to work, and they did damage against a very physical defense, a very fast defense, and a very well-coached defense. So the first game ball, I'm going to give it to the O-line. Who you got, Power Eye?
Oh, my first game ball. You know what? This man, I'm gonna slightly cheat a little bit. I'm gonna name a coach. I'm giving the game ball to Sean McVay. And why am I doing that? Because what did we talk about last week when we got smoked by the Cardinals? And I said, we cannot come out against the Niners and say, we got to throw it 40, 50 times and have Matthew Stafford play hero ball and save us, because we're going to get smoked. We become one-dimensional, and we have to figure out ways to run the ball and get more creative. And what did he do? Well, he must have heard us, because we talked about, hey, let's get 2 tight end sets. Let's change and have multiple formations. And according to our friend Stu Jackson, does a good job. After utilizing 11 personnel on pretty much every snap weeks 1 and 2, Rams utilized 12 personnel on 25 of 56 snaps in week 3, almost 45% or so. It marked their highest 12 personnel usage in a game since the disaster 2022 season, when we didn't have anybody available to play. And I know a similar situation-ish in this game against the Niners, but we said it. He had to make those adjustments, him and OC Mike LaFleur. So I'm giving my game ball to Coach McVay for making the switch and doing what needed to be done. Get the tight ends out there to help in the run, and then stay committed to the run game. That is my first game ball. I tip my imaginary cap to you, Coach McVay, for making that much-needed switch, or we would have lost against the Niners, no doubt.
Yeah, shout out, to that flexibility. Like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head, right? The ability to be flexible and realize your team needed that, right? The we, not me. Right? He actually lived up to that in that game. Great call. Great game ball.
And then who's your second?
I had a couple. Listen, Optimus 9 is a given. It's a game ball every week for him. So I'm going to go with the X-Man. I'm going to go with Xavier Smith, man.
Yeah.
Knockout blow that he delivered. Listen, that kid's story, right? You read that nice sample last week, but there is something, Ram Nation, you have to watch. It is a great segment on YouTube about his background coming from HBCU. Shout out to HBCU, another great player that they turned out, Florida A&M, the Rattlers, and everything he went through, his story, and the Rams loved him and they wanted to draft him, and then he wound up being signed as a free agent. Had to wait his turn, and even McVay talked about it. The kid waited his turn. Yeah. Now I will say this: the Rams are really lucky he did not get snatched. I don't know how he did not get snatched for the preseason he had. But we knew it was coming. We were talking about it. This kid has to be on this roster. And to me, he's the same impact Tony Horn used to have on the GSOT, right? The same way this kid, and you saw that. And you and I, we've watched that return over and over again.
Yep. Yes, I did.
And that defender took the bait, right? He got them all on one side, and he was out, right?
Yeah.
And so I got to give it to this kid for everything that he's been through. This is what the NFL is all about. The kid, didn't give up on his dream. He had the job lined up at Amazon. He was ready to go.
I know. Crazy.
The kid toughed it out, and shout out to him. I think he's going to be a great addition to the Rams, not just in special teams, but if he gets a chance to run some routes, I think this kid is going to show the ability to take it to the house on a regular basis.
I think so too. And we saw it in the preseason. We saw him in his limited opportunities at wide receiver in the preseason. We know he could run, and he's got some explosiveness to him. So when he didn't make the roster, I agree. It was a shock that he didn't get poached, and we're very thankful for that. And we talked about in the post game how, like you had mentioned, that he was going to give up on football, and some family and friends, saved him and got him back to playing. And I was pretty pumped about that, reading that article and realizing that then. So that's a great game ball. And I guess my second, golly, well, I'm going with another small speedster. I'm going with that man, Tutu Atwell. And why am I going with him? Because, look, and I understand everyone's still upset over him being chosen over Creed Humphrey. And I get it. Creed is an all-pro center. And, hey, it worked out. We still won a Super Bowl, everybody, okay? Like, things didn't go disarray where the O-line was the reason why we didn't win a championship in 2021. So, okay, we can give some breather. But we've said it here on this pod, Roundtables, other episodes we've done where it's like Tutu can play. He has great hands. He runs pretty crispy routes. He is not this Tavon Austin. He's only a gadget guy on a reverse or a jet sweep or stuff like that. He is not that type of, wide receiver skill player. He can play. We've seen it last year, the first two games where he had over 200 plus yards in 2 games when he filled in for an injured Cup against Seattle, and then ironically against the Niners last year. And then once, Cup returned, he's got phased out. And I get it that Demarcus Robinson is a bigger body. He makes incredible, body jump ball catches, which, God, I thought he caught that one thrown by Tutu. That would have been awesome. And I thought he had it. But again, tough sideline catch. And I get that Demarcus is a good wide receiver. And because of his body type, it's just easier to have him out there. But Tutu deserves playing time all the time, because think about it. When they get him in motion, when he's not getting jammed up at the line of scrimmage, he gets open, whether it be an out route, making an incredible toe drag swag catch, or you see him drawing pass interference or catching that 50-plus yard bomb right after the missed field goal, setting us up to score a touchdown. I mean, fan-freaking-tasking. And now we know he can throw accurate passes downfield. Watch out for that going forward, defensive coordinators, because I know Kupp was doing that, and he was never accurate. Tutu's throwing laser beams down the field now. And I just got to give credit to him, because everyone in the Rams fans base was down on him. We've been down on him because of the reports out of camp. And I'm happy to see him ball out against the arch rival 49ers and make incredible game-changing plays, catching, drawing PIs, throwing passes. Fan-freaking-tastic. Shout out to you, Tutu Atwell. I hope you continue to make good progress, and Sean McVay will continue to trust you, which every time he leans on you, he makes plays, and I think that's got to continue, right? Shoot.
Great game ball. I'm curious, in your opinion, like what do you see his role moving forward? So let's say he does get that level of burn. What do you see his role in terms of his usage and just the implementation?
Yeah. So let's go with the assumption that we don't see Nakua or Cup until week 9. Let's just say best case scenario, like we're a little over the halfway point ish, or whatever you want to call it, and that's when we see them. I mean, going forward, he's got to get opportunity. He's always got to be in motion, or at least let him be the last one in motion. Because I know there's been plays where we send Cooper Kupp in motion first, and then we have somebody else, or vice versa. Even in this game, we had Kyron have a motion outward, then Tutu in motion on that 3rd and 9 that he juggled and caught when Stafford threw a bad pass. Shout out to Tutu for that. Good hands. And I think if we can do stuff like that, maybe get Kupp in the initial motion, or Nakua, whoever, running back Kyron, get them in the initial motion to see if it's going to be man or zone, right? That's the point of that. And then have Tutu get the longer motion across the field to get him open, get him away from being hit at the line of scrimmage or jammed up by a defensive back. So he can get open, and then once he catches it, let that speed come to fruition, whether it be a deep route or a crossing route. And most people can't catch him. So I think that has to be an emphasis by this offensive staff going forward, because dude can play, man. And it's good to see that his opportunities, and even the previous game, bad drop and other stuff that was going on in preseason training camp, has not affected him clearly. So I think that's got to be his role. Get him in motion, get him free, and let him catch and run, man, because dude is fast as hell, and he deserves playing time.
Yeah, and the film supports that, because the defense was reacting to anything he did. Even though this is a player who did not get a ton of touches. But somehow, for whatever reason, we shout out that one play when they audible to the draw, it was Tutu that motioned and opened up that gap. Because when he motioned to the wide side, right, we saw the 2 players on the defensive side for the Niners shifted over. They reacted to it, and that opened up the gap on the draw. So I think you're right. I think the only question with him is, can he withstand the wear and tear of the NFL season with this slight build. But I think, like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. You got to pick his spots. You got to put him out there, give him like maximum opportunity. I don't know if this is the guy you want leading in the run game, right? But
no, of course not.
You pick his spots, like you said, and give him an opportunity to stretch that D and blow the ceiling off the defense, right? Because everything was downfield towards him. And that one play where he ran that cross, showed great hands on the move. So let's see. Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is a splash player. This is a kid that he knows how to do one thing, which is get vertical. So I think that's the way you got to utilize him.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully that's the case. And real quick, Rams Nation, I mean, just a final fun little stat before we move on here. I mean, we can't forget about that fake punt that really saved the game in a respect. I mean, Rams converted on a fake punt for a first down with running back. Shout out to Ronnie Rivers for doing that 7-yard rush in the second quarter. The fake punt conversion was the Rams' first since week 12 of another ironic disaster injury plague season against Kansas City, when Jacob Harris caught a pass from Riley Dixon. So, hey, man, you do what you got to do to move the chains. And I just thought that was a fun stat to throw out there before we move on to other subjects. But shout out to Ronnie, man. I mean, hey, I know people are like, hey, where's Ronnie at? I know I've seen some of that in the Rams universe, but there's an impactful play of the season right there. I don't know if anything else will be as clutch as that run right there, right?
And you're absolutely right. Shout out to Running Rivers, man. That was, not only was that clutch, but he got a lot of early snaps, right? We were both surprised. He got a lot of early snaps in that game, and he played really well. That one blitz pickup was huge. That let Stafford get the ball downfield. He ran the rock twice. So, and then you had this play. So, it was great to see that he got some touches, right? But you're absolutely right. But going back to your game ball, shout out to McVay for going for it, man.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He's like, listen, what do we got to lose?
That's right.
Caution, baby. That's how you play football.
I agree, man. So, good to pull that off, everybody. But it's a week-to-week league, as many people like to say, and including us. So you enjoy it. And now it's time to move on and get prepared for another 1-2 team, the Chicago Bears. And Paul, Rams Nation, this is a big game, in my opinion. because you have a desperate Chicago Bears team who has been getting shredded by their local media in the state of Illinois, the national media, and I think the Rams, if they don't come out treating this like a legit game that sincerely matters for their season, right? I think the Bears, they have troubles and they'll lose this game easily, I feel. How do you feel? What are your early thoughts on this matchup coming down the week here very, very soon?
Well, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think we're lucky that it's not in like frozen frozen temperature weather.
Oh, we're lucky for that.
Thank goodness, right? But
yeah,
it's interesting. So number one, the Rams' slow starts has been their complete undoing. So that's one thing they got to make a real, like, they got to talk about it every single day. They got to talk about it the day of the game. They got to talk about it in the huddle. Let's get growing, right? Yeah. And that balance early, I think, is going to help them running the ball early. And I think this is a team, I think you're absolutely right, that if you sleep on them, they're dangerous. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I watched that whole Bear game for a reason. I want to see big dog Caleb. Dunze, man, listen, that kid, his catch radius, he is so comfortable. As long as the ball in his catch radius, he just snags it. Doesn't have to be a dime between the numbers. He's that kind of wide receiver. Yeah. The defense is underrated. That's a quality defense. Underrated. So I think if the Rams don't come out with their A game, they might be in for a very, very long day. I think they should start out the game. You and I talk about it all the time, a nice balanced approach. Mm-hmm. Let Stafford get into a rhythm. One thing, when I went back and watched the film, and I'm sure you saw it too with the 49ers, once they settle in that tempo, and that's the thing with the Rams. Once that tempo is there, where it's not chaotic and it's not like lethargic, but that up tempo where it's not too off the charts, it was a totally different squad. And I think that's the same thing that they need to do early on in Chicago and just ride it through, play solid 60 minutes of football and let the talent on their rosters sort of take over. There's a lot of talent on that roster. The O-line is rock solid. You got Optimus 9, you got Iron Kyron. Let those guys win the game for you on defense. Have a solid game plan. The defense needs to improve, but that's only going to happen by execution. So they work on it all week and then execute during the game.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit Shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Reporting live from under my blanket, I'm Susan Curtis with Dunkin' at Home. Breaking news, pumpkin spice iced and hot coffees are back. I'll pass it to Mr. Curtis with his blanket for the full story.
That is so right, Susan. It's never too early to get in a spicy mood. I'm talking cinnamony goodness that's so tasty, people don't want to leave their blankets either. Back to you.
No, back to you.
All you.
The home with Dunkin' Pumpkin Spice is where you want to be.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Think you know the Brooks Ghost? Think again. Introducing the all-new, better-than-ever Ghost 16. Now with nitrogen-infused cushioning for lightweight, supreme softness that feels good every step, every street, every single day. So go ahead, take your daily joyride in the all-new nitrogen-infused Ghost 16. It'll turn your everyday miles into everyday endorphins. Let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
And speaking of defense, and I think that's going to be the key in this game, because we've played mobile quarterbacks now 2 weeks in a row, and they've just killed us. Kyler Murray obviously probably being the most mobile in the entire league, right? Just the agility and the quickness. Brock Purdy, I said it. I was like, he's got great mobility too. If we're not careful, he'll burn us in that too. And he did a bunch. And Caleb Williams, I think, is even more athletic than Brock Purdy. Maybe not crazy quick like Kyler, but he's got insane agility, because let's be real about this, everybody. That Bears O-line is not good. They are ranked 30th in run game, percentage, attempts, yards, blocking. PFF has them near the bottom too. And their pass blocking is not good either, which is why Caleb, Williams is running for his freaking life. It feels like every play, and it feels like every play is a backyard play when they go to pass. And I think if the Rams could just get home on a quarterback, this defense will be so much better, because think about all the plays where the quarterback's running around, scrambling for yards, or finding an open receiver. And we talk about it. No defensive back in the entire NFL, past or present, can guard a pass catcher for 7, 8, 9 seconds. It's impossible. Someone's going to get open eventually. So everybody, if the Rams front seven, and particularly obviously the front four rushing the passer, if they can just get to the quarterback, they'll be all right. And because you know why I feel that way? Rookie pressure leaders through 3 weeks. Guess who it is? Second round pick, Braden Fisk with 12, Jared Verse with 11. They just can't tackle the quarterback right now. And I get it. We've been playing elusive QBs, but top 2 in the entire NFL for rookies. Fan-freaking-tastic. More than Latu, who went ahead of them. More than Byron Murphy, who went ahead of them. And then obviously Marshawn Nealon is having a nice little season there for the Cowboys. But our top 2 guys who we spent serious draft capital on are getting to the quarterback, but can't get them to the ground. So I think if they can do that this week, especially those 2 who are obviously young players and are getting acclimated to the flow of, playing NFL football on defense. If they can get home to Caleb Williams, I mean, we should have a great chance to win this game. And even outside of them 2, I mean, even Kobe Turner's having a nice season. I mean, through 3 games for him. Defensive end, technically in our scheme, but he's a D tackle. Kobe Turner is tied for first in the NFL in hurries and is tied for 8th in pressures with 15 of his own. He is one of 3 interior defensive linemen to have 15 or more pressures. Zach Allen and Dexter Lawrence, who everyone thinks is an all-pro for the Giants. We're getting to the quarterback, but we just can't bring them down. So Byron, Braden, Kobe, Agent Zero, Young, if all those guys can just get the quarterback to the ground in this game, because they're going to have plenty of chances with how the Bears O-line has been playing in these first 3 weeks, we should have a great chance to win this game. And it just comes down to them, I feel. Like if they can do it, because I think we're going to have tough matchups with the Bears defense, who I think is good. I think they're a good defense. So it's not going to be some, Bears suck and we're just going to blow them out, which would shock me if that happened. I think we're going to be challenged on offense. They're going to get their stops, but we got to come up with our own, getting through a bad O-line of the Bears and getting home to Caleb Williams and obviously DeAndre Swift when he gets his running opportunities. But outside of that, though, I do think the Bears are in desperation mode, Rams Nation, Paul, because going, 1-3 to start the year when everyone had these high expectations. I mean, the hot seat is cooking out there in Chicago, according to all the local media, and how bad, our old friend is calling plays over there. So this is going to be a tough game, I feel. I think Bears, we're going to get their best shot for them to not, be under 500 significantly, like we're trying to avoid too. So we'll see what happens, all right? Shoot.
Yeah, who's having a rough year? Our boy, Romelia Coleman Shelton. He's out there.
Yeah.
He's having a rough year right now. But, man, I miss him. He was one of my faves.
Shout out to an LA native out here. I know he played good football for us. He did.
And one thing about that statistic you brought up about the conductor, which sometimes gets lost, is that they've moved him around to help support the run because his ability to stop the run and his ability to penetrate, and that one clutch play where Reeder was able to stuff the running back at a crucial part of the game, which was one of your impact plays that you highlight. Very nicely done. What easily got overlooked, which you highlighted, was Kobe Turner was able to get penetration, not only get penetration, but he was able to create that stalemate, which totally threw off that outside run. Right? Because the lineman in that zone scheme, that's what everybody in the NFL is doing. They're telling the lineman, don't run all the way upfield, right? Block up the LOS, create havoc at the LOS so that the O-line can't get to the outside. They don't have that smooth sort of coordination. And that's what he did. And that's what defense is all about. Defense is all about playing as a unit, whether you're a spill player, right? Whether you're a force player, whatever your role is, right? Whether you're in match coverage, whether you're in over-the-top coverage, you have to play as a unit. And when coaches talk about things like leverage and knowing your role and knowing your gap, that's exactly what we're talking about. And Kobe Turner is a great example that he's still getting the production as this unit is trying to get settled down. I think one of the issues is that the D-line is not disengaging. And that clutch sack by Fisk Factor when he came off the block and he caught Purdy from behind, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. You got to get off those blocks. They're getting close, but you got to get off the blocks. Monster Zero showed a little bit of that. He got close. If you can't get to the quarterback, you got to reach out, disrupt that passing motion. That's exactly what we're talking. There are other ways to disrupt the pocket if you cannot get to this, get the sack. But I think those sack numbers are going to go up. This is a talented group. Got to keep Caleb in the pocket, make him throw the ball. He's throwing the ball a ton. So make him a pocket passer, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, look, they got weapons. Swift, Keenan Allen's supposedly going to be back for this game. That's going to be a big factor. I mean, Cole Kmet's a good tight end.
Fantasy, there you go.
I mean, Doomsday we had interest in, and he can play. And then obviously DJ Moore is a speedster, pretty good receiver himself, Pro Bowl level player. So they got guys. Obviously, the O-line is the issue, but if we don't get home and we don't get to Caleb, we're going to see a lot of what we've seen the last 2 weeks, which no bueno. And you know what also is no bueno? That the Rams haven't won a game in Chicago since, can you guess, Paul, off the top of your head? I know I'm putting you on the spot right here.
Off the top of my head? Wow.
Yeah, what year was it the last time the Rams have won a game in Chicago? It wasn't like, we're not talking 1980s or anything, but what year do you think it was?
Wow, I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
we didn't play them too frequently, too. So I'm going to – I don't know. I wouldn't even be able to give you a shot. I'm still traumatized with the last time we played the Bears.
I know there's been some rough matchups. Well, for everyone out there, the last time we won a game in Chicago was 2003. Do you know who the quarterback was for our team? Mark Bulger. You know who was still on the team? Torrey Holt. You know who was still on the team? Marshall Faulk. That is the last time the Rams have won a game in Chicago. It has been a long time. We have played the Bears a ton here in LA in the recent history, and we've won those games, thankfully. But we just cannot find success playing our NFC foe out there in the Windy City, which is troubling. And that's just another weird reason why I'm very worried about this game outside of just the matchup itself with the Bears being desperate. It's just we just can't seem to beat them in Chicago for whatever reason. So as you can see here, the St. Louis Rams at the time were having a good season, 7-3. Bulger was still playing good before the injuries. Torrey Holt was still balling. Marshall Faulk, and then Chandler was the quarterback for Chicago at that time. But it was a close game. And also, what's funny here is that it's just crazy that those star players for the Rams were still there, right, Paul? I mean. Yeah. Marshall Faulk was still on the team. That's how long ago it was. I mean, my goodness. There he is in this game, running free when he had a big super run in that game. As you can see, the pile being created, and he breaks free. 2003, everybody. We got to end that streak this Sunday and get a win out there, especially
Martial law. That's it, man. That's what it's all about. But one thing, definitely fantasy shout out to Cole Kmet. I think he's the one. If you're looking for a tight end, if you're in a tough spot and you need to start a tight end this week, Cole Kmet. The last game, I mean, they were looking at Caleb was looking for him all game. So I think if the Rams could put the clamps on him and make Caleb throw the ball downfield, you might be looking at a couple of picks. So
I hope so. And then offensively, I mean, we just got to stay true to the game plan and not abandon the run because they have a good defense. Again, they have players at all three levels. Montez Sweat, you got Edmonds in the middle, you have a good secondary. And if they can just implement this 49ers, game of attack that they just showcased to us, but obviously have it tailored to the Bears 4-3 defense, not the 49ers way of doing it, then I think we'll have a decent chance to come out with a victory. But gotta get to the quarterback and then gotta just stay committed to the run and feed Kyron Williams and then let Stafford play action pass and, make some big chunks that way. But tough game. Very, very tough game. And I'll be nervous the entire time. Haven't won since 2003. In Chicago, desperate team. I mean, I'll be nervous that entire game until I see us with a W. So, I mean, Paul, what is your final score for this game here? What do you think is going to end up happening?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I agree with you. I think the Rams should pretend they're playing at like Winter and Soldier Field. Run the ball early, grab the lead, get it up to 2 scores, right? Whatever it may be. I think the Rams win by 10.
What's the score you got on it, though? What do you think?
I'm thinking I'm gonna say they're gonna grind it out a little bit. It's gonna kill the clock. I'm gonna go 20-10.
20-10? That seems pretty realistic. Gosh. What is my score gonna be? You know what? I know this might upset some people, but I just feel like Bears are against the wall. I think we're going to run into that, this is the Caleb Williams coming out game where he balls out on us for whatever reason and the O-line just doesn't suck. I just have a weird, just bad feeling, and history is just not on our side out there. I think Rams, I think they might lose. I think it's going to be a close one. I think Rams probably lose 24-20. I think that's what ends up happening if I had to bet some money on it. I hope they don't. But it just, all things are just leading to this game just being a letdown for whatever reason. I just have that weird feeling in my gut. The highs of beating your rivals, everyone's like, yeah, we're awesome again. And it's like, no. Let's settle down and get ready for the Bears, who are also like, we got to win this game at home. And everyone's talking crap about us. I just think our secondary hasn't been playing the best. Keenan Allen's back. O-line's been hearing for weeks how they suck. Haven't beat the Bears since 2003. But if they do end up winning, what do we say here? You got to just run the damn ball. And I think if they do that, they set themselves up. But I'm sorry, Rams Nation. I mean, I just think this is a lot of weird things going on right now. I'm just with both teams. And I think the Bears could pull off the upset. I know a lot of people are picking the Rams to win this game. I think 24-20. But I hope I'm wrong. Just like I thought I was hoping to be wrong when the Niners were playing us before we made those picks. But I don't feel good about it, but I have a weird feeling about it.
Listen, Ram Nation Power Eye keeps it 100 every time we do these casts, right? But, he brings up a good point. This is not a game you're going to be able to win just on pure adrenaline. You're going to have to go out there and play smart, right? Mm-hmm. And McVay's got a really, really important role, especially early on. He said something at the presser. He says, now that we see what it looks like, it's going to be easier to, carry it forward. That's exactly what he said.
Sure.
Well, you saw what it looked like. You ran the 12, you did damage, right? You got a great wide receiver core, right? The key is, can you get enough 12 looks out there to balance your 11? We know you're 11 heavy. That's okay. A 40-60 split, it's fine. You're going to win a ton of games. And one player, we didn't get a chance to talk about him, but when I was watching, in the fourth quarter, who was bringing the hammer? Hunter Long.
He was playing good. Yep.
Yeah, I'm watching it. And he had a couple of pancakes in there. I was like, holy cow. There you go, big dog. So great to see him. But to see that, they got to get that ground game going. That cannot be, once in a while type of scenario. That has to be a week-to-week staple of this offense. You are ignoring a very significant component of this roster that you have put together. Think about that for a second. And I think, we've been talking about it. It's like maddening sometimes to watch the games. And when you see that just like sitting on the shelf, right? Blake Corum hasn't even smelled the field yet.
That's crazy.
Right? So think about it. They could probably churn out wins just in this ground game, right? Even with the injuries, the wide receiver room looks, rock solid. So, but I think if they walk away, and I think that'll be the thing we could take a look at after the game, is look at that split, that 12 and 11 split. I think if it's 40-60, right? Obviously 60 towards the 11, I think the Rams walk away with a W.
Yeah, I hope so. I want to be stressed. I want to be stressed most games, every game. But, history, all that stuff I had mentioned earlier, I'm just like, ugh. But I hope Rams do it, and they can do it, though. That's a good thing. We've seen the formula. They can do it. So, as everyone out there probably knows, it is Hispanic Heritage Month. Shout out to all the Latinos, Hispanics, whether you're here in Los Angeles, no matter where you are on planet Earth as a Rams fan. Shout out to you guys for being Rams fans. And if you do happen to celebrate, maybe a little drink after work, maybe you celebrate pretty hardcore, whatever it is to celebrate the month. Cool. Shout out to you guys. But we want to shout out a fantastic Hispanic Ram, a Hall of Famer, a legend in the football community of the early days of the NFL. And that, everybody, is Pro Football Hall of Famer. You guessed it, Tom Fears. And Tom Fears, everybody, if you're not too sure who that is, he was a Mexican-American professional football player who was a split end, they called it back in the day, where that's wide receiver in today's terms, who played his entire career for the Los Angeles Rams in his playing days. 9 years, 1948 to 1956. And he did end up going to coach the Saints and have a bunch of other opportunities and all that fun stuff. But what a legend. And Paul, what are your thoughts on him?
The absolute beast. Was born in Guadalajara, Mexico. Shout out to Guadalajara, right? Produced one of the all-time greats. Came to the United States when he was 6 years old. Went to high school in LA. Power Eye and I were laughing about. We were trying to figure it out. Manual Arts High School. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
I think he went to Santa Clara College first, then transferred to UCLA. That was after serving in the military. He was a round 11 pick 103 by the Cleveland Rams at that time. Right?
Crazy. And what round was it? Round 11?
Round 11. That's how they ever listed.
Crazy.
And if you see him wearing the 55, and Power and I were laughing that he's wearing the 55. He looks like a linebacker.
Yeah, but he's a wide receiver. Crazy.
Yeah. He came into the league. He was actually a D-back, but he had great hands. And they actually had him playing both ways until they eventually moved him to split end full time. He actually led the league in receptions 2 years in a row. Ram Nation, listen to this. Led the league with 77 receptions. Back then, that led the league by far.
Yeah,
77 crazy. And 80. Because remember, the forward pass was not a big thing back then. It was sort of an anomaly. He was known for his physicality. His specialty was the button hook. He would take the button hook and then turn and go. Very difficult to tackle. Not only was he a great player, he was a great coach, known for coaching with the Packers as well. Mm-hmm. But he was also director of player personnel. Guess what? Los Angeles Express. Remember the Express? Right?
Crazy, dude.
And who were they famous for signing? Steve Young. Remember that when the USFL was around. So all in all, one of the all-time greats, Hall of Famer, unbelievable Ram, just, an absolute beast, the way football players should be sort of formulated, high character player, served in the military as well during World War II. But shout out to Tom Fears, one of the all-time legends. And we thought it would be just how else to end Hispanic Heritage Month. But Fears caught the game-winning pass, the touchdown in 1951 from Norm Van Brocklin that brought the first championship to the city of Los Angeles.
Crazy.
Horns. The first championship in horns for the city of Los Angeles. So we thought, as a Ramilia, we'll watch it together.
That's right. Let's do it. And real quick, before we let this clip play, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing like a modern version of the yellow jersey, white pants, blue socks. I mean, I think that'd be a cool nod to, the city and honoring not just the Super Bowl champions that have come in the Rams history, but like the NFL champions, like when that was the pinnacle of being a professional football, world champion at the time. So just want to share that real quick. Get rid of the bone. I'm down for this instead. Anyway.
I feel you. Right there with you, bro.
Browns line moving, Rams line moving. Van Brocklin passes incomplete for the 5-yard penalty for offside against Cleveland, puts the ball in the Rams 28. Now, the play of the day, and possibly the play of the year in postgraduate football. Norman Van Brocklin goes back, arches a long, fine, high, spiraling pass far downfield. Tom Fears makes a great catch on the dead run and goes all the way to score for Los Angeles. A 72-yard touchdown play. Rams 23, Browns 17. Sideline play. Everyone excited there.
What a different era.
Being patted on the back. Players are now patting Tom Fears on the back as he comes over. Tom whirls around to watch the extra point after shaking hands. Waterfield's try for the extra point. Waiting for the snap. The ball's in the ground. The kick is through the uprights. Los Angeles 24, Cleveland 17.
Look at that score there, man, with the old, you got to manually, type it in there. And that game was at the Coliseum, correct, Paul, if my memory is correct?
Yeah, I think so. 51.
Yeah, so, I mean, won the first NFL championship for the city of Los Angeles in the home stadium, won the first overall professional championship for the city of Los Angeles in the home stadium, the Coliseum. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Beat Otto Graham's Browns in that game, who are, Browns fans are just obsessed in a great way about Otto Graham and all the football historians of how great of a player he was. So Rams, with all their great players, Van Brocklin, you got Crazy Legs, him, Fears. I mean, that team was pretty good. I'm blanking on other names. Apologies to everyone out there. But,
Waterfield. Yeah,
I mean,
right.
freaking A, dude. Shout out to this Mexicano for just being an absolute baller. I mean, we'll play this again one more time.
And the first.
Browns line moving, Rams line moving.
Yeah, crazy.
Van Brocklin passes incomplete for the 5-yard penalty for offside against Cleveland, puts the ball in the Rams 28. Now, the play of the day, and possibly the play of the year in postgraduate football. Norman Van Brocklin goes back, arches a long, fine, high, spiraling pass far downfield. Tom Fears makes a great catch on the dead run and goes all the way to score for Los Angeles. A 72-yard touchdown play. Rams 23, Browns 17. Sideline play. Everyone excited there. Joe Sidehar being patted on the back. Players are now patting Tom Fears on the back as he comes over. Tom whirls around to watch the extra point after shaking hands. Waterfield's try for the extra point. Waiting for the snap. The ball's in the ground. The kick is through the uprights. Los Angeles 24, Cleveland 17.
Fan freaking tastic, dude. I mean,
love it.
Legend. And again, I'm sorry, I know the clip was playing. You were saying the first Mexican-American drafted player into the NFL. I mean, an LA legend through and through. Migrated to LA, played at UCLA, drafted by Cleveland Rams, wound back up in LA, won the first championship. I tip my cap to you, Fears family out there, and to you, Mr. Tom Fears, because what a baller you were, and you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for everything you did for the city, for sure.
And on behalf of the Rams Up family, to all our hermano and hermanas, right? Siempre renuncia. Siempre la Emilia.
Mucho amor. Rams Nation. Go Rams. Vamos Rams. We'll see you guys next time. And hopefully we're chatting about a good W over the Bears this week, right?
Don't forget, orchestrated Rams as soon as you're off.
Hey, thanks for the shout out. And again, Vamos Rams. Let's go Rams, baby.
That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.